Our keynote speaker this evening professionally is with Thrivent Financial here in Boyertown. And we're not sure if it's going to be a roast or a toast or a combination, but she promises a few surprises along the way. Please extend a warm Boyertown welcome to Dawn Johnson.
Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "Everybody can be great because anybody can serve." You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and verb agree to serve. You only need a heart full of grace, a soul generated by love. We know that in order to love others, we must serve others. We must be able to recognize the needs of others before they even ask. We must be able to recognize what others may need when they themselves may not even know the answers. We must care about others more than ourselves. We must be servants to others. I recently came across an article written by Pastor Rick Warren, author of The Purpose-Driven Life, on serving others. He mentions that the world defines greatness in terms of power, possessions, and position. If you can demand service from others, you've arrived. In our me-first culture, acting like a servant is not a popular concept. Jesus, however, measures greatness in terms of service, not status. God determines your greatness by how many people you serve, not how many people serve you. While knowing your shape is important for serving God, having the heart of a servant is even more important. Remember, God shaped you for service, not for self-centeredness. Without a servant's heart, you will be tempted to misuse your shape for personal gain. You will also be tempted to use it as an excuse to exempt yourself from meeting others' needs. Your shape reveals your ministry, but your servant's heart will reveal your maturity. Serving others is nothing new to Mark Malizzi. Mark made the decision to serve his country from 1980 to 1986, when he enlisted in the United States Army and Reserves. It was during that time, 31 years ago, he married his lovely wife, Lisa. And Mark, I know that this is your night, but I need to give a shout out to Lisa because behind every man is a great woman. Over the years, they raised 3 wonderful daughters and are now the proud grandparents of 5 grandchildren. It was in 2004, while attending a church service at Morning Star Fellowship and listening to Pastor Steve DeFran speak of personal sacrifice and making the challenge to the congregation to attempt something so big that unless God intervenes, it's bound to fail, that Mark gets inspired to make a difference. Mark took his idea of wanting to share his faith on a volunteer level, to make the community better by getting involved, to share simple acts of kindness, and to show love. It was during that time that Thunder Outreach Ministries was created. Little did Thunder Outreach know that during their second year, they were going to see God's intervention firsthand. You see, they wanted to organize a food drive, and they called it Thunder in the Valley. But they weren't going to just plan any food drive. They were going to plan the world's largest food drive. After planning for 9 months, the world's largest food drive was held. Over 156,000 pounds of food was collected, filling 10 tractor trailers. What a blessing that was, because Hurricane Katrina happened to hit the United States that year. This community effort involving volunteers from Boy Scouts to community leaders succeeded in accomplishing the world's largest food drive, and they made it into the Guinness Book of World Records. Anyone that knows Mark knows he has a heart towards first responders. They are the heroes in our community that selflessly put their lives at risk to help others. While working at Fred Beans Ford, Mark has the opportunity to interact with many police officers over the years. And it was during one of those conversations that Mark realized that these officers are not nearly appreciated or loved by the communities in which they serve. Many do not have any faith or chaplain support. It was at that point that Mark made the decision to fill that void and become chaplain for over 150 police and over 100 firefighters in the Berks County area, as well as the Blue Knights, a Berks County law enforcement motorcycle club. Not only does Mark serve first responders by providing words of wisdom, but Thunder Outreach organizes several events throughout the year to show them how appreciated they are by purchasing tickets to various local sporting events as a way to thank them. They also hold Appreciation Sundays at many local churches throughout the area as a special time to bless them and to give them thanks for the men and women that are always on the front line of emergencies in our area. Mark's service within Boyertown runs far and wide. In 2007, while driving down Main Street in Boyertown, Mark saw the need to help the Boyertown Inn and the residents who reside there. Almost 10 years later, the residents of Boyertown can still appreciate the fruits of their labor. As I reflected over all of Mark's accomplishments, I realized he has many, many more. Not all of them make the local news. You see, Mark every day seeks out opportunities where he can be a light in the darkness. It's those little things, those moments that he stumbles upon throughout the normal course of his day that Mark takes under his wings and provides the guidance and blessings to those who just need a little helping hand or love shown their way. It's during those moments that Mark sees the single mom of 3 as she struggles with the thought of having to replace tires on her vehicle for which she has no money. Or it's a moment to say thank you as he and other volunteers prepare cookie trays during the holidays to personally distribute to the local police. Or his latest moment, wanting to make an impact on the lives of Pottstown area youth as part of the Strong at Heart team. I asked Mark's wife, Lisa, what one thing she would want others to know about Mark. Her response was, he always puts everyone else's needs before his own. He will always help someone, no matter what it is. Remember, everybody can be great because anybody can serve. You only need a heart full of grace, a soul generated by love. Mark, thank you for sharing your heart full of grace and your soul generated by love with us in our communities.
I had been joking to some people lately that I wasn't ready to give up the crown of being Citizen of the Year for the past year. It was something I was so touched and so honored. And when we got ready and we knew who we were going to select for the Citizen of the Year, it dawned on me that I'm not giving up my crown or my time. I have been honored for the past year. I was honored by the people in the community that I love so much. And you can't ever take that away. It doesn't go away. It's something I'm going to carry with me for the rest of my life. So I came to terms with that, and it just made me realize that I am now part of the process of carrying on and recognizing and being in touch with people in this community that are so wonderful and do so much. And I am so proud to be sharing this and moving forward now to pass this on to Mark Malizzi. So congratulations, Mark.
One of the most important moments that happened to me, ministry-wise, for me, was one day when my one daughter came running into my office at home. And this was just after there was the fire down at the Norco Apartments a couple years ago. They had lost one whole apartment complex that went up in flames. Well, apparently, my daughters had worked with some of the girls that had lived in those apartment complexes, and they come to me and said, "Dad, we need to do something for these people." And that's when I realized what my wife and I have had the opportunity to do is now starting to affect the next generation. And we connected with the Norco Fire Company at that point in time, and they opened the doors wide open, and they had created an opportunity to collect food and all kinds of stuff, clothing and things. And I completely stepped back and wiped my hands of it. I said, you guys go do it. And they planned on doing a whole week worth of stuff. And in 24 hours, they filled the fire company from front to back. They had to shut it down. They couldn't take any more stuff in. It's neat to see the community rally together. It's neat to see when we have opportunities like that to come together and do positive things. But for me as a dad, to see my kids do it means a lot. Like I said, I try to be loving and caring to everybody I meet. I'm not perfect. I don't walk on water. I make mistakes all the time. But if I'm better today than I was yesterday, and my wife is a big part of that because she keeps encouraging me and helping me getting things done, and all my team members, then I think we're making a difference at this moment in time. The fire department in this area, they came together. We knew that was going to be a unique situation, and we felt one thing that we wanted to do right off the bat was work together and pray, and that just opened doors to be able to sit down with a lot of first responders through this whole region and pray with them and sit with them and talk with them and encourage them. And I'm telling you, and I almost personally ask you guys, if you see a firefighter, a police officer, any first responder somewhere, take a second and say thank you. Because at 2 o'clock in the morning, when you're wondering who's watching your front door of your house, I know who it is. I've talked to that police officer. If we take the time to thank them, they're going to be there. And I'm telling you, it's more important than you know, especially for our fire teams right now, as they're trying to find the next generation of who are going to be their first responders. And if we as parents and a community do not show respect to these first responders and show our children that they need to respect them, we're going to have a problem when something happens in our life and we need somebody to be there to protect and save us, and they're not there. So if this is paying it ahead, if this is doing things the right way, I do want to thank Pastor Steve and Pastor Liz for what they did for our family for years. I'm so proud of this community on so many levels. I'm proud to be a part working at Fred Beans and being able to work with people in this community. And again, to work with Dave on some of these projects. You know, as a minister, a lot of the ministers call me a divine instigator. And I'm okay with that, because if I can start a spark, if I can get something lit and get some heat put to something, then I've done what I've called to do. This town is an awesome town, and I humbly accept this reward as the Citizen of the Year. Thank you very much.